Welcome to Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wernette. Today I'm joined by 3 local nonprofits, Little Friends, Duly Health and Care Charitable Fund, and we head out on location to the Conservation Foundation.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, UC Bank.
You're watching Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wernette. And joining me now from Little Friends is Mike Briggs. So good to see you and have you here, Mike.
Jane, it's great to see you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Now, you have a big anniversary this year. 60 years old, not you personally, not a day over 40,
No, I'm a bit
right?
older, actually. But
yeah, you got a 60th anniversary. So let's just talk a little bit about how Little Friends has changed since its inception in 65.
If you think back in terms of how the organization got started, it was started by Dottie Kretzy as a private therapeutic day school in a small little school, I believe on Hobson Road, if I have my history right. And what's happened since the beginning of that, where we primarily served children with Down syndrome and provided support resources, and from that, the needs of those individuals grew to where we needed support for adults, and then pretty soon they needed a place to live, and so we needed residential support. And what's happened from an organizational standpoint is that we've changed from just that focus on Down syndrome to now we deal with basically individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, children as young as age 3 through adults end of life, with services that span from an autism clinic to 2 therapeutic day schools, an adult day program. We now have 47 different residences, respite family services, just a whole bunch of different other things, fun club for young adults, and a really broad array of employment services that probably rounds out the things that we've got going on from an organizational standpoint. A lot of things.
A lot of things. You have grown exponentially, but always to meet the needs, right?
Well, we have, and quite honestly, I'm probably should also include a new merger that we just brought into the organization that happened literally last month, the Illinois Independent Living Center, which is located on Iroquois Avenue in Naperville, which is an apartment complex that focuses on individuals with physical challenges. We have now brought that into the Little Friends fold, and so that now is formally our 7th program that's a part of what we do as well.
And what's the benefit to that, Mike? Because I'm always fascinated. I personally love mergers because I usually think they add capacity and they add and complement strength. So say a little bit about how that's helping you and how you're helping them.
So there are, how it's helping us is that there are some vacant apartments of which we intend to put individuals whose needs are less significant that can live with moderate supports living in the apartments. So there'll be there are as many as 5 available, and so we intend to put some residents in the apartment and to use the physical space.
Okay.
So from that standpoint, that's a good thing. What we bring to the dance to help the ILC is that they've run with a fairly small budget and a fairly small network of resources, and what we're able to do is the benefits of the shared services related to IT, related to human resources, the finance group, marketing and fundraising, all those things that one person was trying to do all by herself or with support from the board, we now have the opportunity where we can provide the resources that are a part of our organization and basically complement and supplement what they need from an organizational standpoint. That makes the organization stronger and I think somewhat assures its sustainability on a long-term basis.
Yeah, and I think that's such a true statement, right? Because sustainability is about having a strong infrastructure. And when you're little, you wear a lot of hats. It's hard to have an infrastructure where there's expertise there, but that's what you're bringing to the table, right?
I think so. And the scale of our size in the organization and being a little bit bigger than what we used to be gives us that opportunity to where we can leverage what we have in place, and it's easier to do than somebody having to hire a different resource for every functional position that they might require.
Yeah. You're constantly evolving. I love it. Every time I chat with you, something new is happening, something new is going on, which is great. what are you most excited about? What are the things or the opportunities that you see for the future of Little Friends?
It's an interesting question, and big picture from an organizational standpoint, what I see it from an opportunity standpoint, a lot of it is tied into the concept of whole person care, and what can we do that can make an individual's life better, make the lives of the families that we provide support for better. So there are a couple key and what I would consider big initiatives. The first, from a whole person care standpoint, is the impact of a healthy diet and eating well. And we spend a lot of time and energy making sure that people go to the doctors and are taken care of. But root cause, when you start to look at some of the root causes of things, having a healthy diet affects all of us.
You are what you eat, right?
And in a lot of ways, yes. And so what we want to try to do is try to help the people that we care for, along with our employees, and try to provide opportunities to where we can either create a healthy diet, or even for that matter, we're exploring providing food and doing things to where we could bring in pre-made food and then make that a part of an individual's diet that helps them, if you will, be healthier and maybe happier, more mobile, be able to do more things than maybe what they can do right now. So that would be the first thing. In our new facility that we most recently purchased, we're going to have some physical space that I have ambition to create a medical clinic, dental clinic, and a hair salon that focuses on individuals with special needs, and in particular, those individuals who have sensory needs. When we talk to parents and we ask what are the most challenging things that they have to deal with, one of the things that we find is that the experience that they hate the most is going to the doctor, going to the dentist, or going to get a haircut.
Wow.
And so,
yeah, you wouldn't naturally think that, right?
And so, and for a haircut for me, I can't say that I have to deal with that. But the reality is, those are things that create sensory challenges. And so we're going to try to utilize the space to do something that helps not only the people that we care for at Little Friends, but my ambition is to open it up to the marketplace, and so that people all around that have children or adults with special needs, that if they need a place where we can be of service and be of benefit, that they know that there's a place that can help them. So those are probably the two biggest initiatives that we've got beyond just plans to expand.
Okay.
We've got some pretty aggressive expansion plans across the board. We're opening up 2 more children's group homes. We've got on the horizon 4 more adult homes that will be opening, and maybe a 5th. So we're being pretty aggressive in terms of trying to provide additional resources for the marketplace. The demand is far beyond what we can do today, and we're going to just try to see what we can do to help more individuals than what we can right now.
I love that. I love that. Well, and it's certainly, and I think you made the first big move, right, when you moved to your new facility that allowed you to get everybody kind of together. And I think it really, from an outsider's perspective, feels like, boy, that was really a launching pad, and all that smartness was all in the room together, right? And not spread around all over the place. And you've done a lot of big moves.
Well, thanks. We've tried. What's humbling are the needs. And we receive between 120 and 150 referrals every month for people that look for services. And I wish we could help everybody. But the reality is we needed the physical space to be able to accommodate more than what we were serving in our old space. And so that's what we're trying to leverage and be able to do.
Well, we thank you for that, and I know the community thanks you for that.
Well,
We'll talk to you next time and hear how those plans are going. Mike, thanks so much for coming by.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having us, and we appreciate all that you guys do for our community too.
Thank you. And if you would like to learn more about Little Friends, please go and visit their website. We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. We're coming right back with more Spotlight.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, UC Bank.
This is the When Art Flourishes, Everyone Flourishes commitment. This is the Let's Revitalize Our Neighborhoods commitment. This is the Roll Up Our Sleeves and Pitch In commitment. This is Busey, where our commitment to strengthen our communities is a top priority. through energetic, engaged volunteers, through monetary support and advocacy. Because Busey is more than a bank that does well, we're a bank that does good.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, Busey Bank.
Welcome back to Spotlight. And joining me now from Duly Health and Care Charitable Fund are Dr. Amy Steffler and Dustin Wilson. So nice to have you both with me.
Thank you so much for having us today.
Yeah, it's really good. And I'm going to start with you, Dustin. Talk a little bit about your mission and the impact you're having in the community.
Yeah, so I first want to say about the Duly Health and Care Charitable Fund, we are a donor advised fund through DuPage Foundation, which a lot of people are very familiar with as the philanthropic leader here in DuPage County. And you know, at Duly Health and Care, we're here to address the social needs and risk factors of the communities that we serve outside of our clinic walls. And our charitable fund really follows alongside of that and helps address, with our nonprofit partners, community health and wellness, housing and support services, as well as food insecurity. So our mission and our goal is to really empower our community members so that they can achieve self-sufficiency.
Yeah, I love that. And of course, you know, and I think as you talk about food insecurity and housing and these kinds of things, they all play a factor, right? In the health, in your health. And I think that's a much broader definition than we used to think about
Yes,
health, right?
for sure.
How do you go, Dr. Steffler, how do you go about adapting to kind of the economic and the social changes that you're seeing within the community? I mean, I think even in the definition of what health means these days. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, you know, as the world changes, we have come to realize that the need grows and it continues. And so we try very hard not to pivot from our basic mission, which Dustin just laid out about food, health, and housing. So we try to stick to those three tenets, with the exception of natural disasters.
Okay.
For example, this year we funded a couple of relief agencies that helped with the hurricane victims in the Carolinas and the wildfires in LA. So those are the only times that we actually go out of our mission to help some organizations.
Yeah, but that's, it's big impact, right? I mean, that's where we kind of all need to step up, right? Those are major disasters that one needs to help out with. I love that. But I love the focus. It keeps it simple, right? And make sure that you make an impact.
Right.
Can't be everything to everybody.
Right.
Dustin, talk a little bit about how you partner with other organizations or businesses to further your mission.
Yeah, so we're really excited this year to celebrate our 15-year anniversary.
Congratulations, that's amazing.
We're very excited about that. As of the fall of 2024, the Charitable Fund has granted over $5 million to nonprofits locally to Chicagoland. So we're super excited to say that at our 15 years. And you know, we partner with DuPage Foundation to make this impact. And as we've mentioned, our key impact areas is that community health and wellness, housing and support services, and food insecurity. And so with that, we partner with organizations from a community health and wellness perspective of like DuPage Health Coalition, Will Grundy Medical Clinic down in Joliet, to make sure that we're giving them the ability to give their clients access to appropriate health care. When you look at the housing and support services, we're partnering with organizations like Bridge Communities, DuPage and Chicago South Suburbs Habitat for Humanity to make sure that we're providing affordable housing for our community members. And then when we look at that food insecurity piece, we're partnering with a lot of food pantries like Loaves and Fishes, West Suburban Community Pantry, Northern Illinois Food Bank, and People's Resource Center to make sure that they have access to healthy foods. And really our impact is going hand in hand and walking hand in hand with these nonprofit partners to really make that impact in the community.
Yeah, I love that. And that's what stops them from ending up at the doctor's office, right?
For sure.
Which is ultimately how we create that health piece, right?
Yeah.
What do you think makes the organization unique, Dr. Steffler, versus others that are kind of in the space? And I think it's the demands are bigger than the supply. We know that.
Absolutely.
So it's good to have more than one player in the space. But what makes you unique?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that 15 years ago, the fund was established by a group of physicians that at the time, DuPage Medical Group, were now Duly Health and Care. And you know, they identified that the people in the communities where we serve had other needs. And so they stepped out beyond the clinic walls to establish the fund to help those people in another way. So the other thing that's really unique to us is that every dollar that we raise goes directly back into the fund. Duly organization is the funding for our employees, and if we have an event, they fund the event so that all the money we bring in, we give right back out. So,
Okay, yeah, that's wonderful because a lot of times there's a lot of operational cost involved in that. So people can feel comfortable if they're giving you $1, it's having a dollar's worth of impact in the marketplace.
For sure.
Yes.
You've been with the fund a long time,
Yes.
and you've been in the clinician's wall. What makes you just really continue to do this work?
Well, I always say I just feel like this is what you're supposed to do. I was raised that way to do things besides just my job. And honestly, as I look forward to retirement and maybe in the near future, I hope to do this more full time. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I love that. I love that. Talk about new initiatives for 2025. It's always exciting. I can't believe we're already moving through 2025 so quickly,
Yes,
right?
yes.
But what new initiatives, exciting plans do you have in the works?
So Duly recently launched or announced the launch of our largest medical office building to date in the Schaumburg area. And so our charitable fund will be really focusing our efforts to expand our services as we continue to support the ones that we have, but expanding those services in that north and northwest suburbs so that we can give those community members access to the appropriate resources that they need to be self-sufficient.
That is exciting.
Yes.
Well, and I think I hear this word so often across so many. It's the word access, and I think that's such an important part,
Yes.
right? It's oftentimes there are services, but do you have access to them? And,
Yeah.
and what are the hurdles that it takes to get over that?
Right.
And that's how you're working with your partners, right? To be sure.
Yes, just making sure that we provide that grant funding so that it gives them the ability to go out and provide the access that they do need to give to their community and clients.
What makes you so excited about working in this space?
It's seeing the good that we are able to do together with our nonprofit partners. We've done so much in 15 years, and I'm so excited to continue that and really live the mission for our charitable fund as well as for Duly Health and Care.
Wonderful. Well, I think we're in pretty good hands with both of you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. We really appreciate you coming on and all the good work that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. For more information about Duly Health and Care Charitable Fund, please go and visit their website. We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. We're coming right back.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, UC Bank.
This is the run my own business dream. This is the colleges paid for dream. This is the retire early dream. This is Busey, where your dreams and possibilities become moments through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Because we're here to help you achieve the life you've always envisioned.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, UC Bank.
So, Brooke, we're here at McDonald Farm, which is the home of the Conservation Foundation, and it's absolutely a beautiful piece of property. Tell us a little bit about the background on the Conservation Foundation and the McDonald Farm itself.
Sure. Well, the Conservation Foundation, we've been around for more than 5 decades, and we work throughout the collar counties. We're based here at the McDonald Farm in Naperville, which happens to be in Will County, but this is where our main headquarters are located. But our mission is to preserve land, restore land, clean up our rivers and streams, and promote stewardship of the environment. Like I said, we've been doing that for about 53 years now. We've been involved in protecting about 36,000 acres of land over the last 5 decades throughout the collar counties. Most of that land is in public ownership today,
Okay.
mostly forest preserves, but some park districts, but we also do private land conservation with conservation easements. But we've been working on the DuPage River since 1991, trying to clean it up, and the river's in much better condition now than it was 3 or 4 decades ago.
Sure.
And the McDonald Farm is sort of our showcase property. We do a lot of education and outreach here. But this farm, the 60-acre farm, was donated to us by Lenore Clow McDonald.
Okay, we know that name.
Yeah, the Clow's a big Naperville name. She donated that in 1992. We moved in here in 1996 and have been here ever since.
Well, it's amazing property, and what a gift that she left for you, right? I
Right.
mean, it's really amazing. So we're standing outside of the sensory garden. Talk a little bit about what's going on here.
Well, so again, one of the things we try to do at the McDonald Farm is to show people examples of what they can do at home or their place of business, just to help nature, bring nature closer to us and help the environment. So we have a lot of native plants here, our Conservation at Home program, and our summer children's garden with a lot of our educational programs, especially with our summer camps.
Yeah.
And so, you know, people can go to forest preserves, and they should go to forest preserves. But right here at the McDonald Farm, we try to showcase as many different aspects of local nature as possible so they can sort of see it all in one place. We open this up to the entire community because we feel very strongly that everyone, regardless of where they live or their socioeconomic status, everyone deserves access to nature, clean water, clean air, and healthy food. So we try to exemplify all that here.
Let's go across and talk a little bit about some of the technology, though, that's fueling that. Because I think sometimes we think about sustainability and technology is separated. And they're really, and you're going to show me how they're really integrated.
Exactly. I mean, this is an old historic farm, but we don't like to say this is a farm of the past. We like to say this is a farm of the future. And you can't ignore technology and how technology can actually help make our environment better.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, let's go check
Let's
that
go.
out. So Burke, you know, we kind of come over here, and as I look around, I can see a lot of different technology. Explain to us a little bit about the technology that you have going on here at the farm.
Well, Jane, because our mission is about conservation and environmental stewardship, here at the McDonald Farm, we try to show people different examples of what they could do at home or their place of business, and at various scales. We know not everybody can, you know, put a wind turbine in their backyard.
Yeah, the neighbors don't love that.
No, right. But, you know, there's just different examples in different scales because we get a whole lot of people asking us, well, I want to do something, but I'm not sure what to do.
Okay.
So when you come to the McDonald Farm, we hope people leave with at least one new idea of something that they could do at home or their place of business.
Okay.
But you know, the first thing are the solar panels. Anybody can put solar panels up on their roof. You can buy them separately, or you can work with a company and work out a partnership to put them on your roof. So that's a great way to produce clean energy and maybe save a little money. And we're standing on top of right now a 25,000 gallon rainwater harvesting system.
Wow, okay. Hope I don't fall in.
No, so this is a rain barrel on steroids.
Yeah, just a few.
Just a few. But all of the water all the rainwater is collected off of the buildings here, and the water's funneled into this huge cistern underneath the ground, and that we use then this stored rainwater to help irrigate the vegetables here at the McDonald Farm. So we have a well.
Full circle.
It's full circle. So we're trying to capture, we're harvesting the rainwater, we're saving it for a day where we need to irrigate the vegetables. So on any given irrigation day, we might be irrigating the vegetables from a rain that happened 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And then over here we have our wind turbine, and between the wind turbine and the solar panels, we produce about 25% of our own electricity here at the McDonald Farm.
Yeah, that's kind of amazing because it's not a big wind turbine and it's not a ton of solar panels.
It's not,
so.
yeah. So a little bit can make
Yeah.
a difference. So, you know, we have rain, we have a rain garden, we have lots of native gardens. But this right here.
Yeah, what are these big panels?
This is one of my favorite items that we have here. So these are called hydro panels.
All right.
And so think of them as the dehumidifier you might have in your basement. But instead of throwing that distilled water away, a hydro panel takes it a step further, and we pump the distilled water through a mineral cartridge, and it creates drinking water.
So, I mean, that's just fascinating. I mean, taking care of the water. I mean, underneath us, we're taking care of the plants, things like these panels. We're taking care of the farm workers, the folks that are helping you raise all the great crops that you are. Let's talk a little bit more about the crops and the farming and the greenhouse and everything.
You know, growing food is important, right? We all need to eat, and we feel it's very important that we grow food locally and we grow food in a clean way. And Russ, our farm manager, He can explain all the details of everything we do here.
Great. Let's go take a look.
Let's go meet Russ.
Okay. So Russ, we're out here at Farmer Steve's greenhouse. So first off, who's Farmer Steve?
Well, Farmer Steve is the farmer who originally started Green Earth Institute, as it was known at the time. And this was over 20 years ago. So Steve had a vision of growing locally produced, organic, sustainable food right here in Naperville. He started with just a few acres here over 20 years ago on McDonald Farm.
Okay, so now quite large. Talk a little bit about what you got going on in here.
All right, thanks, Jane. So inside here, this is Farmer Steve's greenhouse. This is the first greenhouse that we planted this season. So the plants are fairly well mature at this point. We have a mix of romaine lettuces, loose leaf lettuces, beets, onions, all spread throughout this house. We have our beds spaced out apart from each other to help control any issues with pests so they don't transfer from one bed to the other.
Okay.
And these crops will be used for our spring CSA shareholders. So our community-supported agriculture program allows folks to sign up for memberships in the off-season. And we have spring, summer, and fall seasons. Right now, our spring and summer seasons are sold out, but we are still taking applications for our fall memberships this year.
Okay.
And that allows people to come by the farm either every week or every other week and pick up a box of mixed vegetables from our farm for their family.
So that's really nice. So we're seeing it grow right here, and then I'm eating it next week on my dinner table.
Exactly.
Okay, I love that. So Russ, you mentioned that these are obviously, there are some crops that you can plant outside. So what all do you plant outside during the year?
So we have, about 100 different kinds of vegetables, depending vegetable types and varieties included. So basically everything you can grow in this region that grows well in our soil types.
So I would imagine that takes quite a lot of people to do all that planting.
Oh, it sure does.
Yeah, yeah. And then on that harvesting, you talked about your share program, but you also service a lot of other organizations that are in that food distribution business. So say a little bit about that.
Yes, we do. It's actually kind of exciting. 2 years ago, we started working with local food pantries here. Now, Farmer Steve had started a relationship with Loaves and Fishes over 20 years ago when he began the farm program here as a way to distribute extra produce that wasn't needed for the farm program. Over the years, the farm program has grown. The amount of extra produce that we've had has grown. So we've been able to continue that partnership with Loaves and Fishes this entire time. 2 years ago, though, we spoke with some partners up in northern DuPage County who are interested in working with us to help feed more food pantries, not just with extra food that was surplus for what we planned to grow for our own members, but to plan to grow food specifically for those pantries to ensure that we had a steady supply throughout the season for them. And that helps a lot with the insecurity issues that a lot of pantries here are facing. We also hear from many of the pantries in the area that the hardest thing for them to do is get fresh fruits and vegetables, especially organic fruits and vegetables, for the folks who need it the most. So we're really happy to be able to start to help in that part of our food system. And in the future, we hope to be able to expand that going forward.
Yeah, that's really farming America. That's what we want to do, right? It's locally grown, locally eaten, and in this case, locally supporting, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, this is great. Well, let's go on to our next place.
Sounds great.
Okay, so Russ, we come outside of the greenhouse and we've got this amazing lineup of what looks like very new equipment, new farm equipment. So give us a little bit of detail here.
That's right, Jane. So the vegetables are generally known as the star of the show around here. So these would be considered the stagehands. We would not be able to put on the production that we do every year without the help of machinery like this. Our farm is on 60 acres of property. So with a crew of up to 8, that is just too much space to manage with the amount of people that we have here. Thanks to our friends at Endeavor Health, who awarded us a capacity building grant this year to help us increase our infrastructure to be able to help and produce food for our community and especially for food pantries going into the future.
Thank you so much. We so appreciate being able to look at all of this stuff. I mean, it's just an incredible facility and the work that you're doing here is so important. So we appreciate it, Russ.
Well, thank you, Jane. It's great having you guys out today.
I'd like to thank all of my guests for joining us on Spotlight, and our friends at Busey Bank for their generous sponsorship of today's show. To learn more about the organizations featured on this episode, please visit our website at nctv17.org. And to stay informed about what's happening in our community, Sign up to receive our daily news update and like and follow us on social media. For Spotlight, I'm Jane Wernette. Thank you for watching.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, Busey Bank.